It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films released in June of the first week of June 2009, June 5th to be exact. How do you like the J.J. Abrams lens flare right there? You didn't know he was guest directing this week. It's my phone. I've been working on some videos, and there's and it's a little bit. It's not as bad as it usually is when I'm editing videos together, because sometimes I'll be recording and the light back there will be completely in the way and all that. It'll be extremely. The flare will be much bigger, but we're not. But luckily, we haven't had that problem tonight, at least so far. But yeah, who knows? That might change. But I'm already wasting your time as it is. Let's get to the movies this week, because we do have a good assortment of films here, and then we have one really rotten egg, and try to guess which one that'll be. But before we get to any of those, remember back in 2009 when everyone saw a little film called The Hangover and everyone realized that, holy crap, this movie's pretty amazing. It's one of the funniest comedies ever made. Surely they're not going to destroy it with sequels. Yeah, let's not think of the sequels. Let's go ahead and look back at how The Hangover was first introduced to most people.
Hello?
Tracy, it's Phil.
Phil, where the hell are you guys?
We lost Doug.
What? We're getting married in 5 hours.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What happened last night? Oh, God! Am I missing a tooth? Oh. Whose baby is that? Check its collar or something.
I looked everywhere. Nobody's seen Doug. He's not here.
Where's your car, officer? All right, everybody act cool. Let's just get it and go.
What is going on? I lost the tooth. I married a whore.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Some guys just can't handle Vegas.
Mike Tyson? This is my favorite part coming up right now. Oh, shit! He still got it.
Yeah, people just took to this movie, and keep in mind, this movie did not have big-name stars back then. I mean, Bradley Cooper, at the time, was known for being kind of the guy that was like the dickhead from Wedding Crashers, the dickhead antagonist of the Wedding Crashers. He wasn't really seen as kind of a big box office draw. He'd been in movies before this, like Midnight Meat Train, and then he was on the very underrated show Kitchen Confidential. But then this movie comes along, and then Ed Helms, who was on The Office, who was also on The Daily Show before that, was slowly starting to build his legacy as a comic actor. Zach Galifianakis was a relative unknown. And this movie just pushed every one of these people that were involved in this movie. Ken Jeong, they all went on to become big names in the decade to come. And it all came together with The Hangover. A story where you have Phil, Stu, Alan, and Doug, who travel to Las Vegas for a bachelor party to celebrate Doug's impending marriage, Doug being played by Justin Bartha. However, Phil, Stu, and Alan wake up with Doug missing and no memory of the previous night's events, and must find Doug before the wedding. And of course, when they wake up, they realize that Ed Helms realizes he's missing a tooth. Bradley Cooper, Zach Galifianakis finds a tiger in the bathroom. They all find a baby in there, and for some reason, Mike Tyson is in their hotel room. Don't ask questions. It just is how it is. And as we go along, we see Ken Jeong as this kind of how do you want to put him in this movie? He's basically a gay Chinese gangster, pretty much. Not as chaotic or as annoying as he would get in films to come, but that's kind of the thing with this movie in particular. It reminds me so much of the first Home Alone movie, because it was a hit that was nearly the equivalent of Home Alone. It was a film that was both a critical and a commercial success. It was a film that ended up becoming the 10th highest grossing film of the year, and actually ended up surpassing Beverly Hills Cop as the highest grossing R-rated comedy of all time. And I could have sworn that this ended up becoming the highest grossing comedy, surpassing Home Alone, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it would later been surpassed by Barbie anyway. But the film, not only was the film a big success overall, but it was a really funny movie. It was a really good, well-made film, because you could buy into the chemistry of the leading actors. You do believe Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, and Zach Galifianakis do want to find their best friend, because they are as the movie says, as Zach Galifianakis sings in the song, they're the 3 best friends that anybody can have. I mean, Zach Galifianakis overall was really good in the movie. Everybody plays their parts in this movie fairly well. The humor overall is really good. You know, you have supporting characters like Heather Graham, who kind of plays like she plays kind of like a, I want to say she's the mother of the baby that they find, but no, she's a stripper and an escort. You know, you follow characters played by Rachel Harris, Sasha Bareilles playing Doug's bride-to-be. Of course, Jeffrey Tambor is in here playing the father of Alan, and trying to see who else is here. Mike Epps has a role in here as another Doug that comes into play here. I mean, there's so many funny moments all throughout the movie, and you do get engaged in the mystery. You do want to know where the hell Doug is, and you know how is this all going to turn out in the end. The movie hooks you in right away, and you know it all leads up to him being in the most simplest of all places, and it's just, you know, but it's about the journey and the adventure that these guys go on, and it is a big journey and a big adventure overall that they go on. And I said before that this is basically kind of even though it's R-rated, it's more of a lighter version of something like A Very Bad Things, which I think is a very underrated dark black comedy. This is like a more mainstream comedy overall, and if I had to choose between The Hangover and Very Bad Things, I don't even think I want to go that far, because as much as I like Very Bad Things, I do think this is the much better movie overall. I think it is a very solid film. I think it's a very good film, but it's the definition of a one-trick pony, because as we'll see later on with the sequels, you try to do this over and over again, and like, it just doesn't work as much. It just doesn't work. I mean, it's basically the equivalent to what Todd Phillips later did with the Joker. Joker worked well the first time around. There was no reason to make a sequel, no matter how hard you tried to add in more to it by adding Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, even though she was one of the best things about that movie. If you don't have a good script to work with here, and you're only just making it because the first one was a success, maybe think about writing a better script overall, because that's what would happen with the next two movies. They tried so hard to make this the next comedy franchise, and it just didn't work after the other two movies. The Hangover Part 2 wasn't bad, but it was definitely the typical definition of a comedy sequel, where they're just ripping off the same stuff they've done before. Everybody's dumbed down to where they were at the beginning of the first movie. Nobody really learns a lesson, and we have to go back to square one all over again. It's just like what's the point? Like, why do we have to do that with the sequels? But we'll eventually delve more into the problems of those movies later on. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy how The Hangover overall, the first movie, worked as well as it did. It is a very funny movie. It's a well-made film. The casting overall is great. The mystery is really good. It's a great movie. You can definitely see why a lot of people bought into it. It's a terrific film. One of the year's best movies, no question about it. So with that said, let's get to the other comedy that came out this weekend that didn't quite have as much of a success as The Hangover did, but is it as bad as most people say it is? Let's talk about it. Land of the Lost.
Rick Marshall, whose new book arrives in stores tomorrow. This theory of yours, what exactly is that?
Two simple words. Time warps.
You've spent $50 million of your money studying time warps?
No, that's adorable. No, taxpayers' money.
Something's happening. It's an earthquake. Did we go back in time? Yes, and space.
Friends?
Smells good.
You realize what this means?
Yes! Matt Lauer can eat it!
Just trying to be still. I don't think it's working.
Ah, good old 2009, when people still had respect for Matt Lauer, until we realized that he was kind of a wacko, and definitely was somebody that should have never been able to get away with what he did. And the fact that Will Ferrell's character was so determined to tell Matt Lauer to go F himself, I mean, he was predicting the future, man. And so yeah, this is Land of the Lost, and there's definitely a lot to say about this movie, because yeah, it's a pretty big mess of a movie. You have Will Ferrell starring as paleontologist Rick Marshall, who takes Will and Holly, played by Danny McBride and Anna Friel, into a new world of dangerous dinosaurs and big bug-eyed lizard people known as the Sleestack, while trying to find their way back home. Save the universe and save his reputation by doing so. The dinosaurs with brains, brawn, and personality, and the adventures of scientific advancements and exotic beasts in a faraway land all add up to time-traveling fun and frolics, as Cinema Fan on IMDb, which Let's be honest, it's probably Universal says on here. And okay, let's get the obvious thing out of here right at the gate. This is not a very good movie. It's a film, but it is a film that tried. It tried to do something different compared to the television series. I mean, this is a film that, this was a film that was clearly, they were trying to do something sort of like what a lot of these bad television show adaptations from the 2000s, or movies that weren't as tried to do. But then you had those two examples where they actually did kind of work, like the Flintstones kind of worked. The Brady Bunch movie worked very well. Sergeant Bilko. This one wants to try to be a satirical a satire of the original TV series, more campier, if you will, but it also wants to pay homage to it, and it's a really hard thing to do, and you really have to be very, very good at your craft to make it work. And this is not a hack director. This is Brad Silberling. Brad Silberling is the guy that did, Casper, Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, Simon Birch. Did he do Simon Birch, or was it October Sky am I thinking of? It was neither of them. I completely got the wrong name here. But, he did City of Angels, Moonlight Mile. He's not a bad director overall. This is not a hack director. This is a guy that knows what he's doing. You got a good cast overall here. Farrell, Danny McBride, Anna Friel, Jorma Taccone. I could see what they were trying to do here, but I don't know. I just don't feel like this movie really promised what everyone was wanting from this movie. Like, we were supposed to get a satirical comedy based off of, how silly Land of the Lost is. Like, you really needed to go down. I mentioned Barbie before in the Hangover review. That's the direction I feel like they should have went with here. They should have gone all in with the satirical aspect to it. And I mean, if you could have done it that way, I think you could have had something really good here. But as it is, I don't know. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. I feel like it's a movie that tried to do something a little bit different, to try to do something that was both a parody, but also try to do something more serious, and it kind of really hurt them in the long run in general. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, Will Ferrell overall in here isn't that great either. Like, Will Ferrell can usually save a movie like this, but even he's kind of pushing it here. So is Danny McBride. It's amazing how Anna Friel's the only one that really comes out of this relatively unscathed. And of all people, Matt Lauer. I mean, Matt Lauer, say what you will about him now, but back then in this movie, I mean, his stuff in here still holds up. It's still very funny how he just likes taking joy in seeing Will Ferrell suffer miserably until the very end when he actually proves it. And it's just like, okay, it's just like he has to take it, eat a big bowl of crow, unlike what he would do later on in real life. But I think what the biggest problem with the movie is that you had a film like Journey to the Center of the Earth come out the summer before, and I think that movie was a better example of what Land of the Lost should have been. It's a movie that's a movie that knows how silly it is, how over the top it is, and just went along for the ride. And I feel like with this movie, they tried a little bit too hard to take it a little bit more seriously. And I think by doing that, I think it really stepped in the wrong direction here. I mean, it also didn't help that the script overall really isn't that strong. And I think there was a lot of, like, it also doesn't help that this is Universal. This is the company that made Jurassic Park, and everyone looks at this and thinks to themselves, you guys made Jurassic Park. I mean, I would think you'd want to try. I mean, the thing is, they didn't really try to make this stand out compared to other dinosaur movies at that point, so, specifically the Jurassic Park movies, really. And let's be honest, the biggest thing that really holds this film back is that it doesn't include this. Now we've crossed the line, falling through time, living in the land of the lost. Okay, obviously that wouldn't have helped the movie, but that's just my last second thing I want to bring up here. That 90s theme song to Land of the Lost from the reboot. I mean, that's still one of those great bangers, man. Like, that show may have not been that great, even though you get to see President Bush as the father of the two kids in this, But no, that's a great song. That's a great underrated theme song that not a lot of people know about. You had to be there when this was on Nickelodeon. I mean, that's how I saw this, when Nickelodeon aired the show during the afternoon back in the 90s. I mean, that was a song that I just remember so much. More memorable than the TV series was in general. But overall, my final thoughts on Land of the Lost. It tried, it just didn't work. It was a film that I can't really say it's an all-around failure, but I can't really say it's a great movie either. It's just, it should have been a whole lot better than it actually was. So, with all that said, though, let's go ahead and move on to, look, as bad as Land of the Lost is, it's the Hangover compared to the next movie we have here. Nia Vardalos starring in My Life in Ruins.
Greece. A year ago, I hit rock bottom, so I came here to reconnect with my soul, find my mojo, or kefi, as the Greeks call it. Late!
Hello and welcome to Greece. I'm your tour guide. Whenever we stop, you can leave whatever you need at the bus. Cameras, sweaters, handbags, anything. What about sweaters?
The star of my big fat Greek wedding
Who's my driver?
Does he speak English?
No.
has finally arrived in Greece.
Say hello to Prokopi.
Hey, Prokopi.
Oh, I'm sorry. He has a nickname he'd rather be known by.
Poopy.
For Georgia, romance is ancient history, and her life is in ruins.
I'm showing tourist ruins they care nothing about. Pays lousy. I don't have any friends here. I haven't met Saxon forever.
Forever is a long time.
You speak English? Anybody else?
You are too busy looking up. Look here. I know I'm touching your chest.
Oh, good.
But now, Georgia's discovering you gotta get in touch with your wild thing. How to let go and enjoy the ride.
Quit.
Nia Vardalos, Richard Dreyfuss.
He's a nice guy. Go talk to him.
Yeah, he's quiet, but I call it mysterious.
My Life in Ruins.
You look just like Angelina Jolie. You must get that all the time.
Yes, I do.
So, My Life in Ruins. Set among the ruins of ancient Greece, the film follows a tour guide played by Nia Vardalos, whose life takes a personal detour while the group gets entangled in comic situations among the ruins and a series of unexpected stops along the way. My Life in Ruins, believe it or not, is also the title of Nia Vardalos' career after My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I don't know if that is, I really don't think that's true or not, but let's be honest. I mean, man, talk about a career that fell apart so goddamn quickly after My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I mean, that's the one thing that she had going for her, and she just ran that into the ground. I mean, my God, by the end of the decade, she went from being one of the big breakout stars of the decade to, oh my God, can you please do something else that's not offensively bad comedy, or just you trying to go back to something, trying to go back to the past and trying to relive that memory again, because it ain't working, sweetie. It ain't working in this movie. And I don't hate Nia Vardalos. I don't hate her, but my God, everything she did in the decade and everything she's done since then, because she's still trying to capture that My Big Fat Greek Wedding magic again, and it's just not there. She made 2 sequels to this that are completely 100% pointless. There's no reason that we needed My Big Fat Greek Wedding to make a trilogy out of it. And we talked about The Hangover earlier. The My Big Fat Greek Wedding is another movie that didn't need a trilogy. But it's not this. I mean, I'm talking about that, but this is just a bad movie. This is a lousy movie. The jokes in that trailer alone were groan-inducing. Everything about it, from the beginning of that trailer all the way to the end. It's like, some people say you look like Angelina Jolie. You look like Angelina Jolie. I bet you get that a lot. Yes, I do. No, you don't. No, you absolutely do not. You're trying way too hard to be relevant on this, and you're just on life, and you're just failing miserably at it. I mean, my God. The worst part about this whole thing is that this is not written by a hack writer. Guess who wrote this movie? Mike Reese from The Simpsons. One of the best writers The Simpsons has ever had wrote this. Excuse me for 1 second. that's probably over my thoughts on this movie. I just don't know. I mean, talk about a waste of everybody involved in here. A cast that includes Richard Dreyfuss, Rachel Dratch, and Harlan Williams. All very funny people. I don't hate Nia Vardalos either. I don't like, she can be funny, but you gotta do something that's more than just rehashing the same thing you've done over and over and over again. You gotta do better than this. This is just a bad movie. This is a terrible, terrible film. Plain and simple. Let's move on. So anyway, let's end the show on a much more positive note. It's been a good weekend overall. We had a good movie to start it off, a not so good movie that followed, and then one of the worst comedies of the year so far. So let's go ahead and get back on the right side of things with Sam Mendes' latest film, Away We Go.
Stay here.
Where would we go?
We could go anywhere we want.
Wow.
It's a journey to see where they want to make their new life.
I love the idea of home. In this movie, family can be made up of anyone or anything.
They map it out with their hearts.
What you need to be happy is this. It's your family.
This is love. I hope people will find themselves in the movie somewhere.
I'll always love you. Even if it takes you months to lose this weight. Even if you're enormous.
Away We Go. Rated R. In select theaters June 5th.
Certainly a much better movie from Sam Mendes than Revolutionary Road. A nice return to form for him. You have John Krasinski and Maya Rudolph as a couple steered in eccentricity and irregularity who are very much in love and thrilled when they find out that Verona, Rudolph's character, is pregnant. She's enjoying pregnancy. Bert is, however, practicing skills that he believes a good father should have. They are all living in the same state as Bert's parents, Jerry and Gloria, so their child-to-be can have grandparents. But when Bert and Verona go to dinner at his parents', the older couple shakes up the younger couple with surprising news. They've decided to move to Antwerp, Belgium. Verona lost her parents when she was relatively young, so she is very much alarmed, but the resilient couple quickly finds a way to turn it into a positive. They embark on a search for the exact right place for them to raise their daughter-to-be. They go to every place they can think of, meeting family and friends along the way with laughter and sadness. This is a road trip that the parents-to-be will always remember. And at least I'll remember it, because most people don't remember this movie all that much, which is a shame, because this is an absolutely fantastic movie. I mean, this is a great movie that has an incredible cast that includes John Krasinski and Maya Rudolph, as I said before, who really shine in this movie. You really do buy them as this couple who are really in love with the idea of having a kid and raising a family. And it just goes to show that these two have solid potential overall as actors as a whole. They are really entertaining people, and you do get invested in their journey. And it has the benefit of an incredibly stacked cast. I mean, you have Jeff Daniels, Catherine O'Hara, Allison Janney, Jim Gaffigan, Carmine Jogo, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Josh Hamilton, Melanie Linsky, Chris Messina, Paul Schneider. Just an excellent, excellent cast in here. And it's just an engaging film. This is written by Dave Eggers, who would later go on in the year to write Where the Wild Things Are. Did he write Where the Wild Things Are? It's actually, he did he? I thought he did, but let me just double check here, because I've been wrong before on this show. But let me just go ahead and see. Yeah, he wrote Where the Wild Things Are, which not as good as people make it out to be. There's some problems with it that we'll eventually get to, but he is a good writer overall. I've seen a lot of stuff of his that is very good. This is a very solid film. This is a very underrated little gem that a lot of people don't really think about all that much. It's one of Sam Mendes' most underrated movies. It's a really good movie. If you want to see John Krasinski and Maya Rudolph work together as a couple and show that they've got a lot of potential as an actor before they eventually made it on their own with bigger projects, this is definitely a film to check out. One I highly recommend. Away We Go. And so, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. The next time we meet, we'll take a look at 4 more movies, including Denzel Washington and John Travolta starring in the remake of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, Eddie Murphy's latest comedy, Imagine That, from the same director that gave us Lorber, which isn't off to a very good start, and also he did meet David. I completely forgot about that. We also have Sam Mendes starring in Duncan Jones's Moon, and also Francis Ford Coppola is back with a new movie, Tetro. So we'll take a look at all 4 of those movies. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification button, and the bell. You get updated on new videos when they come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.